Okay, so this all started with these figurines, these humanoid figurines that I came across, and it was very striking to me when I saw these figurines. And the first thing I thought of was the broad shoulders. And when I saw that, the first thing I thought of was this thing that I saw and caught on CNN. I was told to take the picture. I took the picture, and this is what was looking back at me. And what you see in the background of this one here, up here, is the original snapshot that I took. And this was back in 2015. And again, there's these things. This here was like Braille. And again, I'm just showing you that it was live CNN, and it was they were talking about ISIS at the time. When I got startled and I took the picture and I saw Kelly's gone, I turned the TV off, and that was the end of that. Now, I'm just going to read this out because, again, something's happening here and I'm learning as I go along. So, again, I don't have all the answers. So here I've had this to happen in 2015. A lot of things happened in 2015 with me when it concerning pictures and things that have happened. So I'm going to really try to be careful here and really not add to any of this, but just give you exactly what it was that was given to me at the time and as it was happening, okay? So in 2015, again, a lot of things. I was, that year, it seems to me that I was taking a lot of pictures, okay? Now, again, I took this picture, and I'm just going to read this here. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, saith the Lord. Then the Lord put forth his hand, and touched my mouth, and the Lord said unto me, Behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. See, I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out, to pull down, to destroy, and to throw down, to build and to plant. Moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Jeremiah, what seest thou? And I said, I see a rod of an almond tree. Now, these figurines that really struck me because of the shoulder and the broad shoulder, and that this creature is actually wearing clothing. There's covering on this creature here. You can see where, here's the face. Here it's like a black turtleneck, and then you've got the shoulders here, which are very broad and square, and then you can see like a shirt over the turtleneck. Okay, I know it's hard and you've got to squint, but there's nothing much more I can do about that. Okay, I'm doing my best. Again, these figurines here, okay, came across, and when my desk and I just looked at this and I saw the similarities. They found these humanoid figurines at various archaeological sites in the modern day Iraq, which would again be Babylon. They date back to the prehistoric era of 3800 BCE, the Ubaid period. Now, I was really surprised at a lot of things that I found when I was looking into these figurines that they've been finding. And there's these orbs, not orbs, but there are these spheres that they're also finding in these prehistoric archaeological sites. And they don't believe that they are human, they are made by humans. Okay, so this really got me when I found this teardrop, and then I saw these little spheres, and it hit me. This is where they get the teardrops from. The teardrop, the 9/11 memorial, the teardrop. Okay, this all goes back to the Uban period. This is very ancient stuff. Okay, this is where they get it. So I'm just going to move a little further here. I'm just going to show you these are the orbs that they're finding. These are the spheres that they're finding. Here's two gentlemen here. I'll put everything in the description. If you'd like, just ask and I'll give it to you. And so they're finding these in these rocks here. Okay. So again, here is the long nose. This is what I believe here is the long nose. Again, the broad shoulders, here more so the broad shoulder. Okay, so here's the teardrop. This is from the Uben period. This is where you get that design now with the teardrop. Okay, so that's where that comes from. Okay, the Ubens were the first civilization force in Sumer, draining the marshes for archaeoculture, developing trade, and establishing industries, including weaving, leatherwork, metalwork, masonry, and pottery. The Talub, okay, also spelled El Ubaid, ancient site that gave the name to the prehistoric culture period. The Ubaid in Mesopotamia is located near the ruins of ancient Ur in present-day southeastern Iraq. Excavations have uncovered the Ubinadian remains throughout southern Mesopotamia. Okay, so they're finding these things. Okay. I also found it very interesting that the Tower of Babel again was in Iraq. This was Babylon, and the reason why they believe that this is the historical site is because of the mud bricks. Okay, and I was just amazed because again, I never heard any of this. I may have skimmed through it by reading it. Maybe I have listened to someone talking about this, but I never heard it. And I'm hearing all of this for the first time. I was having difficulty because here, when I was reading and finding all of this out, here we have the pyramids, we have the teardrops, we got the bulbs here. Okay, and to my surprise, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, Nimrod, which would be the great grandson of Noah, right? This would be whose son? This is who's the father? Oh, can't think right now. Anyway, he is the great grandson of Noah, I believe. This would be Nimrod. Now, Nimrod was the one that built the tower, and building the tower, he came against God, and he opposed him, and he became a mighty mighty hunter, opposing God. Okay, so again, they had different names back then. This is in their language that we're reading this, and here Noah is the figure of the Zeuzara. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. And it says here, it is also interesting that Noah, the figure Ziraza, is said to have migrated to the Eastern Orient. The connection between China's language and the first 11 chapters of Genesis has been a cause for speculation that Noah founded the Chinese race. No other language employs pictograms so deeply connected with the flood story. The gods settled Noah, the king, in an overseas country in the land Dilmun, where the sun rises. Example, the Orient indicating Noah had a role in the Chinese language connection with the flood. Notice the Chinese word for large boat is a composite of 3 pictograms of a ship that can hold 8 people. It is incredible that an 8-person boat is how the Chinese wrote the word for a large ocean freighter. I found that interesting. Again, here we have this connection. So what I did here is I put put it together a little bit here, and let me see. That's not the one I wanted to show. Here, hold on. Okay, so here. Okay, so this, the hometown of Abraham was Ur, and that was around 2000 BC, the empire that drew traders far away as the Mediterranean Sea at 750 miles to the west. Okay, so in ancient Iraq, some 1,500 miles to the east. Ur, modern Iraq, was an important city of ancient southern Mesopotamia. Sumer, about 140 miles, 250 kilometers southeast of the site of Babylon, 16 kilometers west of the present bed of the Euphrates River. During ancient times, lands that now constitute Iraq were known as the Mesopotamia, land between the rivers, a region whose extensive alluvial plans gave rise to some of the world's earliest civilizations, including those of Sumer, Akkad, Babylon, and Assyria. Okay, so again, it's I've just repeated that it's also known that, when Noah, they believe that Noah had a hand in with the language concerning China because of the pictograms here. Okay, pictograms, yeah, that's what. And again, this is going to really surprise, I think, a lot of people because, I'm looking into this because of my own questions concerning these figurines and how far back they went to the beginning of civilization, where everything was coming about right after Noah. Now, again, Nimrod, yes, was 200 years old, but the beginning of the rising of cities and this sort of thing. So, again, this figurine, this Ubaid figurine, is somewhat of a goddess, I believe, that they call this a goddess. Okay, again, as we go along, here I've got the picture of the 9/11, the teardrop. Now, you know that I'm trying not to make this complicated, but I've been really pushing this 1010 with Scott, this Travis Scott, right? And then you have the 9/9, you've got numbers going on here, but this 10/10, all right, this would be Genesis, and this took me straight to Nimrod. This is where it all started with me to understand what was happening here and where these figurines are coming from. And it was just an amazing thing here, where they found these spheres just recently right under the feather serpent steps pyramid in Mexico. Now here's where it really gets interesting. Okay, now all of this is very important to understand the language today in their symbology, because the teardrop now we know goes back to the Uben period. Okay, the single teardrop, right? So we know this now for sure. Okay, and these spheres. Now again, there were some golden spheres found in Mexico here, and here's the pyramid. Now again, I'm hoping and praying that you guys have an open mind, because if you don't, then I'm sure you're going to turn me off real quick. Okay. Okay. Here, I put together a collage of this sphere that they're finding now, okay, going back to the Ubing period and the symbology of it, and it not being of man, that this is not the imagination of man, this is not built by man, made by man. Something has happened here, okay? And there was a documentary done on a pyramid where this sphere was just kind of sitting there, hovering. This would have been on the top of the pyramid, It's the National Reporter. Okay, I'm just going to bring you there. Okay, so I have to give a testimony here. Now, this goes back when I was, 23, 24. It goes back a while. This was not recent. And what happened was I was getting ready to go out. I was putting makeup on. I was in my bedroom putting makeup on. And I'm looking in the mirror, and at the corner of my eye, I noticed that there was this red orb that was hovering in the doorway. And I mean, literally, like you're seeing here, it was just hovering. No noise, nothing. Absolute silence. It was red. Red, red, red. And I remember looking at this thing frozen, and I just was staring at it. It was like I was waiting for something to happen. And I was amazed. So I'm looking at this thing. Nothing's happening other than it's just hovering there, and then it just disappears. Okay? That I think it just disappears. Now I don't know. Okay, what's going on here? So when I told the testimony to a lot of people, it was more about the orb and how the orb was hovering in the doorway. But then I realized that it was not about the orb, but it was the fact that I had no fear of this thing. And this is what I want people to be pulling out of this testimony. It's not so much of what was there, but what wasn't, and that was I had no fear. So when I would say no fear, I mean no fear of the enemy. That's exactly what I mean. Nothing less, nothing more. Okay? So I'm looking at this thing and I have no fear whatsoever. Just gone. Okay? So now I'm looking at this here. This comes back up. I'm on the computer and there it is. This was something I saw years ago when it was actually being shown on TV for the first time, and it was the Discovery Channel or something, and I was watching it with my husband. Okay, and then they weren't able to complete what it was that they were doing because there was some kind of a blockage. There was something they had to get through. So that was the last that I saw of this whole story until now. Okay, so then I'm looking at this and I'm going, okay, so there's the orb. We're in a pyramid. It's one pillar, whatever that means, I don't know. There's one pillar. Okay, and then we have the Asshur. We have the goddess right here. Again, it's gold. The orb that was hovering in my door frame about maybe 2 feet away from me was just hovering with no noise, just quiet. Okay. All right, so let me just go through this with you real quickly. All right, this is the National Reporter. Mystery floating orb is a pyramid and once again attracted scientists from around the world. Okay. All right. To this day, scientists have been unable to figure out how the mysterious golden orb is suspended in mid-air. Some of them have speculated that the story is a hoax, that the orb is produced of a computer imaging manipulation. All of these theories have been poo-pooed by the scientist community as childish answers to a phenomenon that they can just not figure out. Again, I'm a witness. It was just hovering there, okay? It was solid. Most of these okay, I'm not going to go through that. Dr. Martin is one of the scientists who is actively investigating the strange floating orb. On April 6, 2019, the mysterious floating orb seemed to come to life. The floating video is an audio recording of the event that has left the greatest minds of our times baffled. Judge for yourself. I'll get back to that. Okay. Okay, so here is the hidden chamber. They discovered the peak of, okay, right at the peak. Okay, so here we are here. This is what I remembered in the show when they were doing this, and I remember this real. It's very clear to me. Okay, so I'm not reading what I'm supposed to read here. Okay. The fiber optic probe traveled upward into the shaft for several yards, turning and twisting until it came to an open chamber, approximately 10 feet deep and 5 feet high. What it revealed inside the chamber was shocking. Standing in the middle of the room, in front of the second doorway, was the skeleton remains of an animal. But this was no ordinary animal. It appeared to be a large cat with a deformed human head standing guard in front of the entrance to the second chamber. This is where this whole thing in the mythology of cats come in, right? You know, bat cat, yeah. Okay, I know you can't see that very well. I'll put everything in the description so you can go through it if you'd like. But that is the cat here with the human head. When the image of the animal was displayed on the video monitor, several scientists thought it could be the actual remains of one of the ancient Egypt's most revered mythical half cat, half human beasts. Could this be proof that they were real? The skeleton was scrutinized for nearly 3 hours by the exploration staff, and the images was aired in real time around the world to several major universities. What the beast is remains a mystery, but one thing has been determined. It is a real skeleton, not a sculpture or the creation of an ancient taxidermist. The probe continued past the skeleton and slowly made its way through the second opening into the main chamber. The small light that was emitted from the fiber optic probe scanned the pitch dark room for several minutes. It appeared to be empty. The chamber was much too large for the tiny light to illuminate, so a second, more effective light was sent in up the chamber to the chamber to add the fiber optic camera. When it did, it revealed a much larger chamber than the first. When the video probe turned and faced directly into the room, an even more shocking sight greeted the scientist. In the middle of the stone chamber was a golden sphere about 1 foot in diameter, floating in the air about 18 inches from the floor. Okay, here, golden chamber, sphere floating in the air in the second chamber. Take note of what appears to be shadow under the orb. This is not a shadow. It is a discoloration from the energy source radiating from the orb. This force is also pushing the bat droppings aside. The scientists were amazed at what they were seeing. The sphere was just hovering in midair. There were no wires holding it up. It was not an illusion. It has been estimated that the floating sphere is directly in line with the top point of the pyramid. When word of the mysterious floating sphere reached the Egyptian Antiquity Department, the explanation team was ordered to cease their activities and withdraw the probe immediately. The videotape was confiscated and they were ordered to leave the pyramid. The next day, the Egyptian government issued a gag order that forbade any disclosure of the skeleton remains of the half-human cat and especially the floating sphere. They were to remain a state secret until it could be determined exactly what they were. Fortunately, the story was picked up by the National Reporter before the gag order was issued, and we are at great risk bringing the astonishing finding to the world. What the scientist will uncover about the strange objects is unknown at this time, but we can depend on the national reporter to be the first news agency to carry the story, the breaking news. Now, some could say that this was an ancient magician priest who is doing this, what kind of magic, holding the sphere in the air, and until he drops, or snaps his finger or whatever the case, then the ball will drop. But I don't believe any of that. What I do know is that there was an orb right in front of me, 2 feet away, red, hovering in the doorway, and I just stood there waiting for something to happen. Okay, and I believe that this orb is hovering just as they say it is, and I am not a magician. I am not anything to do with magic. I did not do this. So again, I have a little bit of a question about this when they say it was a magician, a priest who has done this, because this would be the goddess of magic here. Okay, so again, it's all about discernment and what it is that you're seeing. And I was very surprised when I first saw this with my husband on TV, how it stopped, and now all of a sudden here it is again. And I was able to see a little further and understand what they had found all these years later, and what it make the connection, what happened with me with this floating orb. Okay, so I'm going to play this out for you. Again, it's all about discernment. You can think of this as a big joke, or you can take this a little more on the serious side, because again, I'm going to be talking a little bit more about these orbs. But again, this is something I just want to show you, and so that you can hear it for yourself. Okay, right. What they discovered, okay, a secret chamber was discovered. I just pretty much told you a lot about this. The upper portion of the pyramid, what they discovered was the skeleton remains of it appeared to be a half human and half cat-like creature. Okay, and this is what it is. The skeleton is now on display at the Cairo Museum of Antiquity. The discovery of this strange creature was overshadowed by what was found in the room behind it, which seems to be guarding. A mysterious golden orb which was suspended in midair defied. Okay. Again, the orb was completely motionless. The only sign of the force that was suspended in the air was the ground discoloration here. Okay, you can see here, well, it's all clear here. Okay, I didn't know that. Recently, the orb has been once again attracted attention of the scientists from around the world. In early March, the orb began making a loud humming sound. On April 6th, a mystery voice boomed from the orb and shocked the team of the scientists who had gathered to observe. The voice spoke in an alien dialect and lasted for just a few seconds. The following is the only recording of the voice, which was captured by a quick-thinking scientist. This recording is the exclusive property of the National Reporter, so you will not find it anywhere else. have begun investigating the mystery voice, several of whom have suspected that it may be a language of alien race that constructed the pyramids. Read further developments in this strange discovery in the future only on the National Reporter. Okay, so I know what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to show you how now these orbs are all the way, they're all around these spheres, okay? And again, it's all about symbology. It's all about what's hidden. It's what they're not telling you. Again, I've always said that all of these things that are surrounding Jonathan Kleck on behind him are all of symbology, and these are things they're like trophies, okay? Of some, I don't know, just going to say trophies. So here again, this is what you just watched here. This is a sphere that they found in the rocks. Again, this is a sphere Jonathan Kleck's beginnings here when he's talking to you about everything that he's gone through. He's showing you all of the treasures, what he calls his hidden treasures. Okay, again, we have the sphere, we have the sphere right here. He calls it an egg. This is the portal fan here. This is mineral water. And again, Genesis 38, this is all to do with Genesis 38 because I believe in Genesis it is about repentance. It's even when God himself was repenting against what he had done because the wickedness in men's hearts and imaginations was too much. Okay, so again, I'm going to read this. For thus have the Lord spoken unto me, like as the lion and the young lion roaring on his prey. When a multitude of shepherds is called forth against him, he will not be afraid of their voice, nor abase himself for the noise of them. So shall the Lord of hosts come down to fight from Mount Zion, and for the hill thereof. Isaiah 31:4. And this is what I'm saying. I cannot stress that enough, that there was no fear, and that's what is being, I want everyone to pull out of this. It's not because I experienced this orb in front of me 2 feet away, but there was no fear. I had no fear of this thing. Hundreds of mysterious spheres lie beneath the temple of the feathered serpent, an ancient 6-level step pyramid just 30 miles from Mexico City. Period here. Okay. This is Jonathan Kleck's place, the empty tomb. He's got the black orb here with the checkerboard. Again, he's got it behind him when he's talking to you. Here we are looking at this. This is, again, I'll show you in other pictures a little bit better than this. But again, this is a church. This is Pope Paul II, I believe. Again, this is, yeah, this is about the orb. And here we could see it right there with Jonathan Kleck right here. Okay? And there's a lot more here. Okay, so here I just wanted to show you. I know you can't see it. I'm very frustrated. I don't know how else to do this. I really don't. But anyway, here is a, again, looking like a sphere with inside of a circle. This is a church. This is the Pope Paul II who is sitting in front of this right here, but you cannot see him. I'm very upset with this. And again, these eyes that you see here, this is from Jonathan Kleck's little portal here, what he calls a heartbeat, has the heart, whatever thing going on there. And this was what I found when I first saw the video. When he first put this out, I glanced at it and I said, well, there's the beast right there. There's the eye. And so I had someone help me bring this out a little bit more. It was really tedious, but this is what I saw. This is exactly what I saw. It was like a bang, there it is. And again, this is Jonathan Kleck's gift. This is his handwork. This is what he does. This is what he's very proud of. Okay, this is his heart. Okay. And again, now we're seeing it here. I'm seeing it for the first time here in the church with this John Paul II. If you look into this, I've got Again, I'll put everything in the, all the information that I've received, I'll put in the description box for you to go through it. Okay, I'll do the best I can to help you through that. To see this here, it was, to me, it was, it wasn't shocking. It wasn't surprising. It was, okay, it fits. Yeah, that makes sense, right? And again, I just really wanted to pull out that this is Jonathan Kleck's gift. This isn't holy. This isn't even supernatural at a point where he's making it with his hands, but a magician, a sorcerer, to bringing it to life, like they say with that orb in the pyramid. Some are claiming that it's a magician, a priest, who was holding that up, that it's got a spell over that, that holds that up in the mist, and a snap of a finger, it's going to drop. I don't believe that. Okay? I believe that what we're looking at here is these old beliefs and myths and mythology. All of this is now within the language of the arts and is now being shown in front of us, and our eyes are open to see it. It's not about something of us battling this, it's being aware of it. It's just the knowledge of it, And again, Jonathan Kleck, this is his gift. This is what he is doing. He brings all of this to life by bringing this forward. I'm going to show you, okay? Hold on a second. I'm not done with this yet. There's so much here. Okay, so if you can see the eye, like that's what I wanted you to see right there, is just the similarities here. Look at this. This is the church with John Paul II sitting in front of it. Completely white, you can't see it. But there's the slit. Here's the eye, right? Again, I apologize, but there's again the slit. Okay. Well, I found something that was hidden, or I was shown. I'm sorry, I was shown. I really not sure what I'm doing at times here, most of the time. Okay, so here we are at the Vatican, or no, not the Vatican. We're at, well, I don't know, St. Peter's Basilica. Okay, and again we have the orb. All right, so we've got the church, we've got the orb here, or sphere. Okay, another one here. Here is another one. It travels with him. This orb, this with Jonathan Kleck. It travels. One day you see it, one day you don't. It's in one room, it's in another room, it's all over the place. Okay, so I've shown you that it is from the beginning with Jonathan Kleck that he's had this gold orb. Okay, so here we have the orb right over the St. Peter's Basilica here. Okay, you've got it right here on the altar. Now, what I found absolutely amazing, and I thank you, Jesus and the Holy Spirit, for showing me this. This here is the sixth period. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6. And there's 6 steps, or it looks like 6, I count anyway. And it's right on top of the altar of St. Peter's Basilica. Okay? It's like hidden right in plain sight. We have a pyramid, a 6-step pyramid. And what does God say about the 6-step pyramid? And if thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewn stone. For if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto my altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. Exodus 20:25. Again, we have now seen and found, we have been shown here in plain sight the 6th pyramid here. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto my altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon. And here you have a sphere. This is all the Catholic. This is the religion here. And there it is. And here we have a sphere that they're finding all over the place. It's very strange. They don't know how to explain this. Okay? I don't believe is made by man. So when you see this with Jonathan Kleck and you see this white ball and he calls it an egg, well, that's yet to be seen. But here I can tell you that I'm very nervous about this sphere being popping around all over the place, and especially around Jonathan Kleck. Look at this, you know. It's what's not being said with Jonathan Kleck. It's not what's being said. This was a wow moment for me. Okay, here again you have, I'm just showing you just some of the stuff that I put together again. And here we have, you know, Pope John Paul II sitting right here. You can see him a little better here. It's just that he's all wearing white, and then there's the orb, and this is what's outside of the Vatican.